Okay, well, I've been around Unity a little bit, and I always enjoy. It's been happening for a number of years now when Allan Jamieson comes to help us celebrate Earth Day. Allan Jamieson Sr. is a member of the Wolf Clan Cayuga Nation, a highly respected Indigenous elder, cultural leader, educator, and advocate in this Buffalo, Niagara region. And he's dedicated his life to sharing the wisdom, traditions, and teachings of his people, helping to foster understanding, respect, and connection with our broader community. And we always feel that here, and we're just so honored to have you here again today. Thank you.
Seitwajia, or good morning. That's in Cayuga. I'm going to start by 4 taps on the drum that will invite in all the good positive energies. I'm very thankful to be here this morning with you and on this sacred land. This is a special area. All this here, not far from here, was the home of the first Indian agent in this land. His name was Erastus Granger. And so there is still a Granger Street, and so this is all special area for everyone. And I'm going to start by saying some words in Cayuga language, which is like an opening and a way to start the day. Sagonego yosta nigyasun. Tehioni niwa geishauta, kayokono niwa kwensoda. Tenuhunu sungoyadiso, sun e sagato haze dezo tehon. Denji dodahak kadoga, wanionishwade. Nidisun agataundum, niisas kegatage. Doga, denji dodahak goiguns kaniquad. Toriana Gawanaga Aswatan Seals Sagoya Diso Akiso Suna Nyawa. Thank you. As I was saying, it's a pleasure to be here once again. And what I said in Cayuga was I gave thanks that we are all here and that we've come from different places and arrived here safely so we can share this time and share what our focus is for this morning. And I also mentioned that I wanted to include in that our grandparents, our ancestors that are always watching over us. And so in this way, we start this day, and this is a great day to be honoring the earth. We refer to the earth as our mother, and we say that we're coming together now this morning, and we're going to bring our minds and our hearts together, and we're going to acknowledge the earth and all what we sometimes say, all of our relations. But what that means is all the different forms of life that support us on this earth. And so, especially today, I'm thinking of, to start off with, the water. In our language, we call that oneganus. And we're extremely blessed in this area to be surrounded by beautiful waters and have access to water. And in our teachings, water is the first medicine. It's the medicine that we've been surrounded with before birth, and it's the medicine that's going to carry us throughout our life. And so, as we travel this day together, we've probably already had some water, and we think of this beautiful rain that's come to replenish the plants, replenish ourselves. We think of the thundering waters, Niagara Falls, and we think of how you can go there and you can feel that positive, strong energy. Yet at the same time, you can go and sit by the lake and feel the calm, the beauty of just the waves. And so it's this water that is necessary for our life. And so at this time, I would ask that we bring our hearts together and we acknowledge these waters that sustain us. And in these waters are the powerful fish. And there are stories from my people of times when they just had to go to the river's edge with a basket or a net, and they could scoop the fish. And that's how plentiful the fish were in these waters, and how important they were. And so there was a time also told to us, and this was even before contact. It was told to us that we would see the waters on fire. And we always wondered, what does that mean? How could that ever be? And so it wasn't that long ago that our own Buffalo River caught on fire because of the oil and the pollutants that were in there. And so then we knew, that what the elders had said was coming true. And so the fish are there. They will always support us. And so a lot of good work has been done to start and change that and to value the waters. Yet we know that a lot of work still needs to be done, a lot of educating, because this is such a vital resource. And so it's to these fish and all this mammal life that we bring our hearts together and we send a message and prayer of acknowledgement for their lives and for their sacrifices for us. And on this Mother Earth, we have all the different plants and foods that sustain us, that are medicine, that we call kyoheko, and that means that it sustains us. And particularly for my people, we refer to the three sisters. And the three sisters are corn, beans, and squash. And so we say that they came from the Mother Earth. And so they are here to sustain us. And for us, the corn that we use is the white hominy. It's not the yellow corn that you may think of. but we use the white hominy as corn. And so there was a time when, as I was going through college and getting educated, that I saw reference to my people as hunters and gatherers. And I thought that was interesting. And my wife says I'm still a gatherer. She says a hoarder, but I don't believe that. So, but I think of a time also that there was a tragic time in my people's history when the Sullivan-Clinton campaign happened, and they destroyed all of the Cayuga villages around Cayuga Lake. That's where my people originated. Think of Ithaca area. What a beautiful area. And so when our villages were destroyed, in their own writings, they wrote of burning 250,000 bushels of white corn that were in storage. So it wasn't that we were just living day by day. We were expert agriculture. And among our people, we have an agreement, and this was made, we say, BC, before Columbus. This agreement was made for all the native people. We said we would never use food as a weapon among native people. It was never to be used to starve. So this agreement is called the dish with one spoon. And it's meant that we can hunt wherever we need to survive. And that we had food in storage because if other people had a bad winter, had a bad growing season, they could come to us, and we were obligated to provide and help them. And so this is part of our teachings, this dish with one spoon, and the three sisters, the medicine plants, the cycles of this natural world. In our ways, when it's time for certain ceremonies, it's dependent on the weather. It's dependent on the natural world. So we might not have ceremonies till after the first frost. We might not have ceremonies until the stars are in a certain position. We might not have ceremonies until the strawberries come up. And then we know it's time. And so, for all these beautiful plant life that sustains us, we bring our hearts together and we acknowledge them. And we acknowledge especially what we call jasundak, the strawberry, because this is a special medicine for our hearts. And the leaves are medicine for your stomach. And so they'll be here soon, once again, to greet us. And all these beautiful berries that we're going to be enjoying again. And so when I think about that strawberry, in our ways we have a special ceremonial song, dance, but the beat of it is like no other. song in our ways. And it goes somewhat like this. That's the beat of the song. And so you can get that that's part of the heart. And that's one of the most special ceremonial songs for us. So we know about these medicines, these fruits, even the bark of the trees are medicine, the roots are medicine. And so for all of this, we are thankful. And on this earth, also among us are the different, what we call gadino, the different animals that have sacrificed for us, and that, again, when we were in really rough times, we would watch the animals, and we would watch what they ate, and we would know what was safe to eat. And so we know that the animals are natural. They'll start running when there's danger that we might not see. So this is, again, all these animals that sacrifice for us, all these animals that we might have as pets, this is all part of the natural world. And so, again, I ask that we bring our hearts together and we acknowledge and we give love and strength to these different animals. When I was thinking about the plants and the different foods that sustain us, I also wanted to mention the trees, because an important part of the cycle passed recently, and that's the gathering of maple syrup. And the maple trees, and for us, we also have a special tree called the white pine, and we refer to that as the tree of peace, because among our people, there came a peacemaker, because we were also a long time ago at war with each other, my people. And we got a message of peace. And the person that brought it, we refer to as the peacemaker. And that person laid out and told us that the reason we were on earth was to promote peace. And so that became the basis of our Constitution, that we are here to promote peace. And so we say that for our leaders, we recognized that anger was something that would take you away from peace. And so we said that our leadership had to have 7 spans of the hand thick skin. We said so that they would not, so you would go like this 7 times. And that's how thick a leader's skin was to be, so that even if you injured them with something, they wouldn't get angry. If you said something, they wouldn't get angry, because they were there to promote peace. And so this is the origins of our people's constitution, of our foundation. Why we are here is to promote this peace and to protect this natural world. And so all these mighty trees that support us, again, the maple, I think of the willow. There's so much that is medicine. The birch, this is really, it's really an amazing, beautiful gift that we have in this natural world. And so for all these trees, we bring our hearts together and we acknowledge the strength and the healing that they bring. And as we walk on this day, and as I've started to hear more and more on these mornings, we hear the birds that, gather in these trees and present their beautiful songs to us. And we know that again, they are here to sustain us, to assist us. For our people, as I said, that white pine tree, at the top of that pine tree, we placed an eagle. And the eagle was to see far distances if anything was approaching that would disturb that peace. And so it's this eagle that still watches over us. And we say that for us, we have a lot of sunrise ceremonies. And the eagles are out before sunrise. And so when we burn our tobacco, when we do a sunrise ceremony, they watch. And so today, for the first time, I've brought in my family's eagle staff. That's this here. And that has eagle feathers on it that have been gifted to my family. And so it's here, and a good friend of mine made a turtle for it to stand on, because we would bring the staff, I would bring the staff to different special events, and I would always have a hard time figuring out how to have it stand. And so a very creative, good friend of mine, I said, he'd probably be a good person to come up with something nice. And sure enough, he did. And so if you want after, you can take a look at it, and it really works. It's great. It's great for that eagle staff to be there. And so, the birds, you hear them again at sunrise. You'll hear these special birds, all these different beautiful songs. And for our people, we have the headdress. You'll see the headdress always has feathers. And this is because there was a time in the people's history when we were close to being extinct. And so it was at that time that we had to appeal to the different animals to try and help us, but they didn't. And so the beings that helped us were the birds. And there's many times in our people's history when we were in a corner. We didn't know where to go. And a bird would appear and fly in the direction. And we would say, follow that bird. And it rescued us. Because we were close to extinction, the native people of this land. For my people, there was a time, as I said, after that Clinton-Sullivan campaign, when we had nothing, no reserve, nothing. We were scattered. And several of us came into this area, actually the Lancaster area. So you think like Cayuga Creek, all down in that area was where some of our people settled. The majority of our people went into Canada. That's where I was born. And so the majority of Cayuga people had to go into Canada. Another pretty large population settled at Fort Niagara. But that wasn't good. That was a bad experience because they say it was one of the worst winters. And our people there that were there starved and froze. And so, it was, it was a bad time for our people. We were really on the edge. So, this is good to know that we survived and to know that our leadership, even though at those times they had to go into the woods and do their ceremonies, that was the only way that these teachings survived. And so we think of, again, we bring our hearts together and we think of these birds, these beautiful spirits that bring peace to us, and that sometimes if you're an early riser, as I am, you'll hear these birds and you'll hear them, and at some points they just get louder and louder and louder, and all of a sudden they stop. And why do they stop? They're waiting for you to answer. So these are the beautiful things brought to us. And as we go through this journey, this day, we think now about the clouds, the thunders, also that are recent. This is something that we refer to as our grandfathers. So our family is all about the natural world. And we say that when the grandfathers come through, the thunders, bringing the cleansing rains, that's when we put our tobacco out. And we put our tobacco out by a tree, and we say thank you. And so the grandfathers are coming through now. And when you hear that thunder, and if you have some tobacco or could be sage, could be cedar, could be sweetgrass, put some out. Give thanks for that. Because this is what really sustains you, is the natural world. And so, as we're going through this day, and as it's getting brighter and brighter each morning, we think of our brother the sun. We say in our language, Hoskangetagoa, the oldest brother. And so, again, brings us daylight, comes through that window, nudges you awake. It's time to get up. It's time to get started. And so it also brings us that warmth. And it shines for everything and everyone. And so we are always very thankful, and we bring our hearts together, and we express an acknowledgement of our brother the sun. And as we go through this day and into the night, we start to think about our grandmother, the moon. Again, another powerful entity that is always there and controls the waters and controls the births. And so our grandmother, you know, what I like to advise is when she's very powerful on a full moon, that you drink some chamomile tea or valerian tea or catnip, something that's going to calm you down, because you're going to feel that energy. And for some people, it's a little too much. So it's better to take some of that natural medicine and relax. So this is another thing I ask that we bring our hearts together, is for that grandmother moon. And also in the sky at night is the stars, the beautiful stars that paint a picture for us, and that we are able to look at and determine when to do our ceremonies. So these stars are special. And we say that to all of our people, and this is worldwide, we've all had messengers. And for us, I referred to that person as the peacemaker. And they've come to all of our people and teaching about a good way to live, a peaceful way to live. And so, again, we acknowledge and bring our hearts together and acknowledge and give strength to these different messengers that have come to our people to bring us these important teachings. So this is part of my message today, that, you know, that again, I ask that we bring our hearts and our minds together, and that we think of this earth, and that we walk gently on it. And I know, you know, I know there are people here that might be in different occupations. And so I would ask that for my people right now, we are working very hard to make sure that we always have access to natural medicines, because the natural medicines, that's our drugstore. You know, we need those. And so a lot of times people have the properties, private property, there would be certain medicines that I would need to go gather. And so I would talk to the owners, and usually they're pretty good about allowing access. But that's our struggle now, is to always have access to these plants, because that's what we need to survive. A lot of the different drugs or pharmaceuticals don't really work good for us. And so we need those natural medicines. And we know how to, like we say, when we go to gather a natural medicine, we bring our tobacco, we give thanks to that plant, but we never pick that first plant that we find. We go and we find the next one, and we don't pick that one either. We go and find another one, and that one is the one we would use. So we ensure that there will always be some for the people. So, this is the natural world that's here to sustain us. And it's great to be here and be celebrating this Earth Day. This is a wonderful, wonderful gathering. Thank you, Don, for the invitation, and it's good. I'd like us all to take a few moments now, and when I was going through the different life forms that sustain us on this earth, it might be that I left something out, that there's something very close to you that you're thankful for, that you want to focus on. And so I'd like to take this time now to focus on that and be thankful And it could also be focusing on family members needing strength and healing. But if we can take a few moments in silence. Thank you.